Okay, let's continue with joints. I'm skipping, this is slide 60. I'm skipping slides 14 and 15. They have to do with levers. And I sometimes talk about levers, but I never put that on the exam. So we can skip the two slides on levers. Okay, movement of synovial joints. And I'm going to deal with just synovial joints now. And so So I'm going to talk about these movements, and we'll show you slides of people making these movements. And I used to, in normal times, do that in front of the class and show you I move my own parts of the body to show you things like this. So flexion and extension. Flexion is bringing things closer to the body. Extension is extending it away. And we'll show you pictures of that. And something called hyperextension. Um, Hyperextension, some joints allow hyperextension to go from 90 degrees to 180 and then beyond at like 270 or something. Some joints that would cause damage. You can't knees and elbows, for example, you can't hyperextend. But your head, you can hyperextend. Your hands, you can hyperextend. I'll show you that. Then there's abduction and adduction. This is actually bringing things closer to the body, add and farther away. Ab elevation and depression, up and down, protraction and retraction, away from body toward the body, circumduction, which only the very most flexible joints can do, rotation, and then supination and pronation. Those are turning palm up and palm down with your hands. Okay, this slide, slide 17, shows you what flexion and extension is. You flex your arm, you bring closer, extend, you put it away. Same thing with your feet. And here is an example of flexion extension. So like, well, not quite 90 degrees, but like, let's say 100 degrees or so, and then 180 degrees and then beyond. Same thing with your hands. You can hyperextend your hand. But like I said, you don't want to hyperextend elbow or knee. And there's lateral extension of your whole body. Slide 18, more movements, abduction and adduction. I usually try to remember these as adduction, bringing your arm in, so you're adding it to your body, or bringing your leg in and adding it to your body, or bringing your arm away or your leg away, which is abduction. And same thing you do with your hands also, and your fingers. Now, slide 19, this is circumduction, which, like I said, the only joints you can do this on are your shoulder and hip. It's only the most freely, the most movable joints can conduct circumduction. Slide 20, more movements, rotation of your head or legs or arms. And there's lateral reduction, medial reduction with both arms and legs. And then there's a special rotation called pronation and supination. When your palms up, pronation, palms, palms down, pronation, palms up, supination. And really, it's only your hand can do that. Then on slide 21, there are special movements. Like the trunk, we just saw lateral flexion, right and left rotation. Mandible, lateral and medial excursion, that is moving your jaw back and forth. Hand and digits, ulnar and radial flexion, radial and palmar abduction, opposition, and reposition. That's touching that's why we have an opposable thumb. It can touch the other fingers. That's opposition. Taken away is reposition. And then foot, dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. That is when you step down, press down, is dorsiflexion. When you pull your foot up, it's plantar flexion. And then when you curl your foot to the inside, to the medial part of your body, it's called inversion. Moving it out is called eversion. And these are really only for the foot. And then for slide 22, these show you some special movements also, depression and elevation of your shoulders. There's dorsiflexion and plantar flexion, inversion, eversion, protraction, refraction, and opposition. So you need to know these these movements and can give me an example of a joint that exhibits these movements.